Vuitton is gifting some influencers these Neverfulls, and some of the girlies are mad. Let's talk about it. Aloha, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome back if we've been locked in. My name is Sasha, and I want to talk about something that has blown up over the past few days on TikTok, specifically over this weekend. Normally, I would wait to talk about this until Friday, which is when I do my Hot on These E-Streets roundup, which basically is just news topics or things that were happening on social media, specifically TikTok, that were huge. But I wanted to make this a separate video because I think the fact that people are mad about this speaks to a growing trend in people's frustration as it pertains to brands and influencer culture. But also, people have to hold themselves accountable because we have become an aesthetic and a trends culture where personal style has just completely exited the conversation. It seems like Louis Vuitton is trying to bring the Neverfull back, which is kind of funny to me because as a millennial, this bag never left. Like, this was my first big purchase, like my first designer bag purchase. I bought it for myself for my 30th birthday. It is something that I had wanted for like 5 years, but the money wasn't right then. Your girl was a little bent. So when I turned 30, I was like, I'm getting this bag for myself. And it was my first designer purchase, my first big, well, my first designer bag purchase. And I wore this thing everywhere. So as a millennial, for me, it never went out of style, but I did notice that the tide was changing around, or the conversation was changing around Neverfulls and just kind of Louis Vuitton in general, but specifically the Neverfull bag. You know, it became too accessible. And when something high-end or designer becomes too accessible, meaning the poors have it, too many people have it, it's too available to regular people, or especially to people of color, that's when it all of a sudden falls out of trend. And it just became like a kind of a gauche bag. It never fell out of trend for me because listen, your girl paid a cute coin for this, okay? It was a I paid a cute coin for this, so it never went out of trend for me. This is my travel bag. I'll wear it to the airport, and your girl wears it when I'm going to the pool. Because this is actually it's a really big bag. Like, look at this thing. It is, and it's perfect for the pool too. But anyway, so it never went out of trend for me, but it kind of went out of trend. I noticed that, like, you know, people weren't really talking about it anymore. And I won't say Louis Vuitton fell off. They didn't fall off by any means. They're still a very high-end designer bag with name recognition. But I just noticed specifically this bag, this Neverfull bag, it kind of became like, it just kind of fell off of trend, basically. But now they've revamped it. There's a strap that they have that goes across the body. And there were a few influencers who were gifted this bag. And now the girls are mad. There are people who have strong feelings about it. I have strong feelings about it from a completely different place. But the conversation consistently I've been seeing is people getting really frustrated with brands who are gifting things, very expensive things, or taking, you know, taking influencers on brand trips, whereas like regular everyday people who are actually spending money to buy these things, to buy these brands, to buy these products, they're not rewarded the same. And that seems to be a lot of people's frustration, you know, around the Tarte brand trips. I've been seeing a lot of people say, any brand that I see that is gifting an influencer a bag or makeup or taking them on these trips and they're not doing it for regular people, I'm not supporting them anymore. And I'm of one of two minds about this, right? Like, we have always had marketing. Marketing has always been a thing. Before influencers was celebrities getting paid for these marketing ads and campaigns. So I don't think it's an issue. We have gone to a different place now as a society. Influencer marketing is here to stay. And I think that I connect more personally with influencer marketing than I do celebrities trying to buy me something. And the reason why this resonates with me is because influencers, they are regular people. You know, they are people who just decided one day to sit down with a camera in front of their face, talk about the things that they like. You know, these influencers have built their own brand. They've put a lot of craft, time, and energy into putting themselves out there. And so I would much rather see somebody be rewarded for that than a celebrity who just showed up and who has name recognition from a movie they did, or et cetera, whatever. And so I don't necessarily have an issue with brands rewarding influencers, and not the Nepo baby influencers. Those are different. But I'm talking about the regular girl who you went to college with, who just started using Instagram or posting on TikTok, and now she's got a grip, like hundreds of thousands of followers, and she's getting flown out on brand trips and she's getting all these deals. And I don't have an issue with that. You know, I think a lot of people's frustration stems from the fact that I think a lot of people think that influencing is easy, sitting down in front of a camera is easy, but it's not easy. It's not easy to put yourself out there. It is not easy to, you know, there's so much that is involved behind content creation and becoming an influencer, you know, editing. A lot of people, there are some influencers who have teams and they can outsource their editing, but for the most part, a lot of people who you view as, like, you know, influencers or content creators, they're sitting down, they're writing the scripts themselves, they're editing themselves, they're pitching themselves. It is work, it is a job. And I think part of people's frustration is that we don't view influencing as work. We do not view it as a job. And that is another issue in and of itself, because I think people predominantly feel that way because the work of influencing, it's a field that's dominated predominantly by women, and any industry, any job, anything that is widely liked by women, or women are heavily in that space, it is diminished, it is devalued, it is dismissed, and people are pretty hostile towards it. We don't regard it as real work. And I think that I think we're at an 80-20 split now when it comes to women versus men in the influencer industry. I think if we're an 80-20 split where 80% of influencers were men and 20% of influencers were women, I think the conversation would be completely different. And not only do I think the conversation would be completely different, I don't think we would be having this conversation. There's a lot of vitriol towards the influencer industry because it is a field predominantly with women at the forefront. But I also feel like some of it comes down to envy, and not just envy, but devaluing the work that influencers do. I personally do not have an issue with influencer culture, with brand trips, with influencer gifting, because I respect the work that these people are doing, especially when they are not Nepo influencers. And also it is a different type of marketing that we are seeing. And because it is something that is accessible to everybody, anybody can become an influencer nowadays. Anybody can pick up a camera, pick up their phone and post on the internet, and you too can live the lives that these people are living. So I don't really understand the envy and the frustration behind it, but that's just me. If you are not wanting to support a brand anymore because you feel that they are not gifting their regular customers or customers who have bought a lot with them, who post them, but they're waiting for somebody to have a bigger platform and they're willing to gift these people, especially when these people don't even support the brand or they've never posted with the brand before, I can understand that. But the backlash is interesting to me from another perspective, and it is interesting to me from a consumer perspective in the sense that people are constantly chasing aesthetics. Like I said earlier, this bag never went out of style for me. We are gonna be a Neverfull girly through and through. This is a usable bag. It is an accessible bag. Like literally, if I have kids someday, it might even become a diaper bag at some point. Like, I don't know. Basically what I'm saying is that it never went out of style. It never went out of trend for me. But there are so many people. We live in a society where people are constantly chasing aesthetics. And when this became a bag, when anything becomes accessible to the vast majority of people, it falls off trend. Or when a certain demographic of people are wearing it, it becomes ghetto. It becomes less classy. Like, I'm thinking about things that have gone through this Renaissance period: baby hairs, long nails, gold jewelry, the clean girl aesthetic, especially, you know, the slick back buns, the brown lip liner. That is Black girl culture, and specifically a certain aesthetic attached to Black culture. Those things were demonized and made to seem as ghetto, and now all of a sudden they're coming. What are they calling them? Sticky bangs. Sticky bangs. I saw that the other day. I said, y'all need to sit down and get out of here with this sticky bangs nonsense or the clean girl aesthetic, because it's basically rebranding something that belongs to a certain culture, rebranding it, making it mainstream, and then stripping away the identity and the cultural origins of this thing. You know, they're trying to do the same thing with freaking boba tea now. It's actually crazy. But you know, this whitewashing of certain things, and as it is whitewashed, it becomes back on trend. It becomes back in style. This same bag, this Neverfull, is now on a wait list. Like, I cackled so loudly when I saw that you had to be on a wait list to buy this bag, that is the only way you can purchase them, because just a few years ago, it was just regarded as this entry-level designer basic bag. And so I'm like, the switch up is crazy. And now that they're sending this out to all of these influencers and trying to market it as the new it bag, the cost I saw has gone up. I'm like, oh my God, it's $2,000 right now. It wasn't that much when I initially bought it. So I'm like, okay, so now they're doing the thing where Chanel is doing, where they're raising the price of it to create that demand for it. You know, if it's more expensive, that means it's less accessible, which means means I can feel more exclusive and better than people who can afford it. And it's like this constantly changing trend. It's this constantly changing aesthetics. And this is the issue with aesthetics. This is the issue with constantly chasing trends and not being grounded and rooted in who you are and what your own personal fashion is, that people are constantly chasing something for a look, for acceptance, to kind of signal to others, I'm in, I can afford this, I'm not like the other girls. And as soon as you become like the other girls, because it is affordable, then it is something that is no longer wanted, and then it takes a back seat to the next trend, to the next aesthetic. And this culture of aesthetics and trends is so damaging, not just to us as individuals, not just to our own like pockets financially, because it is expensive to chase these trends, but it's also damaging our environment. I think nowadays influencers have become a very easy target of people's frustration and irritation with brands and companies and organizations. They've become a very easy punching bag. However, influencer culture is bolstered and perpetuated by the individual. So if you are tired of seeing this culture of consumption, if you are tired of seeing this culture of gifting and brand trips, then as the individual, collectively, you got to decide what you're going to do about it. And one way you can decide to make a change is stop being influenced by aesthetics, stop being influenced by brands, stop being influenced by changing trends, and develop your own personal sense of identity, develop your own personal sense of style. Like something because you like it, not because your favorite person tells you this is the look for the season, this is the color for the season, this is the style for the season. You know, whatever happened to this sense of individuality? Like I said, my Neverfull, my Louis was never out of style for me. I'm wearing this till the wheels fall off, okay? But nobody should ever be able to tell you that your style, it's not on trend, it's not on brand. You know, if people are so upset and frustrated by brands and influencer culture, instead of getting mad at the people who are benefiting off of it, be upset about the people who are bolstering this and decide what you're going to do about it and take a step away. And collectively, if everybody says they're so sick of influencer culture, but you're not sick of influencer culture. You're sick of the fact that you are not able to attain that level of success or those level of followers or benefit from whatever they're benefiting from. You're sick of it because it's not you. Because so many people say that, I guarantee if they were given the opportunity to switch and be in that influencer's position, they absolutely would in a heartbeat. So you're not sick of influencer culture. You're mad that it's not you. And so if you're mad that it's not you, then you have options available to you, right? You can log off, you can unfollow, you can block them, because it's crazy to me for how many videos I see of people saying they're sick of influencers and influencer culture. I look at these people and they got hundreds, thousands, millions of followers. So something's not connecting, like something's not clicking here. How do they have hundreds of thousands and millions of followers, but everybody's sick of them? Make it make sense. So you can either choose to unfollow them, or you can choose to set up the camera and get in front of it and start creating content and be the change that you want to see in the world, which is what I personally encourage, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm here talking about, I see an absence in certain things. I see maybe not necessarily an absence, but I see a void that can be filled, and I'm here to fill that void with my voice and the things that I want to contribute to this conversation. So if you want to be the change, or if you want to change, it is so much easier, in my personal opinion anyways, it's easier to be a part of that change, be the change you wish to see in the world, than to sit around and complain about things, because complaining is wasted energy, and the energy you spend complaining could be energy best spent doing the things that you want to do, being the change that you want to see. You can do that, or you can just disconnect. You can log off. You can decide you're going to unplug yourself and stop supporting these brands and stop supporting these influencers, and you have the right to do that. But what I don't think is appropriate, what I don't think is necessary, is to hop into the comments of these influencers and be rude and be hateful, because it's not their fault that Louis Vuitton decided to send them a bag and now they're trying to sell that bag to you. Because like, media literacy is so important. We understand that they're getting this bag for free and they're turning around and trying to influence you to buy it. You got to know that. We got to be smarter. We got to be smarter. Okay. So I just thought the backlash was really funny. And I think it speaks to a place where we are, a certain place we are in influencer culture, where I don't think influencers are going away. I don't think these brand trips are going away. I don't think these brand partnerships are going away, because it's just a new level of marketing and advertisements. They're always going to be here. And so we're not going to get rid of any of those. But if you feel very strongly about it, you have options available to you that have nothing to do with, attacking influencers. And I think it also I think a lot more people need to be grounded and rooted in who they are, because there is no way that somebody should be able to come to you or make you feel through a screen that your style isn't good enough, and to be able to influence you to pursue something that's not you, that's not on brand with who you are, the core of who you are as a person. If I'm being 110% honest, I think influencer culture is bolstered by a sense of insecurity, and people need to work on building their security. People need to work on building their esteem, and then you will no longer be as influenced by these random strangers or random people on the internet trying to sell you something. You will be more influenced by what you like, because you like it, because you're developing your own personal sense of style, not because somebody is telling you blueberry milk nails are in this season, or oh my gosh, what are they calling them? Mamma Mia hair is in this season, even though Mamma Mia hair is basically a black girl braid out. Like, what are we talking about here? So that's what's like also really crazy to me about a lot of these trends, a lot of these aesthetics, a lot of these things that are going mainstream. They've already been there, but they were there. They were a part of a subculture or a group that was not a part of the mainstream. And then you have people who are in this mainstream, who are culture vultures, picking out these aesthetics from these subgroups, from different cultures, and then rebranding them and trying to sell it to you, trying to sell your culture back to you. Like just 5 years ago, like just 10 years ago, certain aspects of your culture weren't being vilified, weren't being called ghetto. It's just... I could go on about this all day. I could really talk about this all day. But what I will say is this, and this is where I'll end. If you like something, buy it because you like it. If you are wearing something, wear it because you like it. Develop your own sense of style. Develop your own sense of self. Be so grounded and so rooted in who you are as a person that you cannot be influenced one way or the other. That nobody can get on the screen and influence you to buy something by preying on your insecurities or your feelings of being less than. We got to get away from blaming influencers for everything and start like taking accountability, because at a certain point, personal responsibility does become a factor in the equation, and we need to build ourselves. We need to develop ourselves. Louis Vuitton, I mean, I already have one, but if at any point you want to send me a bag with straps across, you know, the side, I wouldn't be mad about it. I wouldn't be mad about it. Thank you for watching. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about influencer marketing, brand trips. I want to know all of your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, peace out.